Market value, $45 billion. Number of employees, 240,000 people. It faced war, earthquake, and bombings at the factory. It did not give up and became one of the largest. We have examined the remarkable success story of Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda, one of the world's most famous automotive brands. Soichiro Honda was a mechanic working in a garage whose job was to prepare cars for races. In 1937, Honda founded Tokai Seiki, a company that produced piston rings. He took his first breath with the first engine tests at Toyota. In the 1930s, struggling with an economic crisis in Japan, Soichiro Honda was conducting engine tests in a small workshop. He signed a contract with Toyota to supply piston rings. However, the contract was terminated shortly thereafter due to poor product quality. Undeterred by this bad experience, Honda spent time understanding Toyota's quality control process. He decided to contact experts at all universities in Japan to learn from them. The famous entrepreneur needed money to produce the prototype of his motor, so he sold his wife's jewelry to raise the necessary funds. After 2 years of developing the prototype, Honda went to the Toyota factory and amazed everyone with his invention. Toyota bought 40% of the company, and Honda was demoted from president to senior executive director. However, Honda faced another setback when Japan entered World War II and his plans to open a factory were disrupted due to a shortage of raw materials. Despite even being unable to find cement, Honda did not give up and developed a new concrete technique to build his factory. Just when he was about to start production, his factory was bombed. Honda rebuilt it, but it was bombed again. This time, he faced a steel shortage due to the war, but he came up with an idea to collect empty fuel tanks dropped by American planes, which allowed him to obtain the steel he needed to produce his motors. The U.S. production factory of Tokai Seiki suffered serious damage from a bomb explosion in 1944. Honda sold the salvageable remains of the company to Toyota and used the proceeds to establish the Honda Technical Research Institute in 1946. Unfortunately, the factory was destroyed for the third time by an earthquake in Japan. After the war, due to a shortage of gasoline, people stopped using cars. After the war, Japan was in a state of complete disaster. The country was in chaos and famine, especially suffering from a shortage of gasoline. While pondering solutions, Honda came up with the idea of purchasing 500 surplus Army two-stroke engines and attaching them to modified bicycles, then reinforcing them with transmission belts. This led to the creation of the first Honda motorcycle. He worked with a team of 12 people in a 172 square meter space and began producing and selling motorbikes by replicating Tohatsu engines. The bikes were practical, cleverly designed, simple, and affordable. This statement describes how there was an extraordinary demand for motorcycles, and the Type A stock was quickly depleted. Eventually, Soichiro Honda began walking down the path to success that he would never abandon. Honda Motor quickly grew and became the world's largest motorcycle manufacturer in 1964. This statement means that Honda wrote letters to all the bicycle shops in Japan and received offers of money and raw materials from some companies. This statement explains that Honda, who was producing many motorcycle models, achieved sales records with its Super Cub model. After this success, Honda entered the production of mini trucks and eventually began manufacturing automobiles. This statement describes how Honda decided to turn the oil crisis that emerged in America in the 1970s into an opportunity by producing fuel-efficient cars and achieved great success in America. This statement provides information about the salaries of Honda factory personnel in Japan. Automotive engineer, $8,300. Product planner, $5,400. Software engineer, $12,000. Sales and marketing staff, $4,900. Purchasing manager, $6,700. This statement explains that Honda is now a significant competitor to Toyota and has surpassed Toyota in terms of exports. It is easy to look at these companies and think, I could never achieve something like this. Of course, it took these companies decades to reach their current positions. But most importantly, they all started with a belief in a particular idea.